Hi, it's Dustin Lanier. Thanks for listening. Please find me on LinkedIn for original public sector operations content every week. And please reach out to me if I and my team of procurement professionals at Civic Initiatives can help you be a public procurement change agent. Hey, Aubrey Leigh Goodwin with Mississippi. Thanks for coming on and doing a quick intro. Introduce yourself to people and let them know about what you do.
Well, thank you. My name's Aubrey Leigh Goodwin. I do go by Aubrey Leigh, good Southern double name. I work for the Mississippi Department of Finance and Administration, which is a catch-all support agency for government. We do everything from pick up the trash to fly the governor's airplanes. That's generally my elevator speech for DFA. We've got about 400 employees, I believe, and we do all kinds of support functions, and one of those is procurement oversight. I started out in procurement about 13 years ago. I was assigned here as one of DFA's special assistant attorney generals. So the procurement shop was my client. And I tell everybody that they taught me everything that I know about procurement. They really invested in me, which I'm eternally grateful for. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that. In 2016, I became Chief Procurement Officer, which was an amazing experience. I really thought I'd be there forever, but the legislature had other plans. So I moved into this role in 2017. In my current role, I do basically all things procurement at DFA. So that includes everything that we contract for as an agency. That office of procurement and contracts is on my team. And then I have Ross Campbell, the Chief Procurement Officer. His team is part of my shop, and have another office similar to his that does personal and professional services. So we are just team procurement, and those offices have an oversight function. They write all the rules and regs, and we just try to assist agencies in navigating the very complex scheme of statutes and regs that we have.
So Ross is the procurement officer, and then what's your title as it relates to that? So that if people are trying to draw something on a piece of paper, they got it down.
Yeah, so I am a deputy executive director at DFA, which means I'm one person under the big boss. And the chief procurement officer that's registered with NASPO is Ross Campbell, and Ross is under me.
Gotcha.
So I have that supervisory role there. We had a big reorg in 2017, 2018, and my boss came to me and said, "You're going to have to implement this, therefore I'm going to promote you." So
I gotcha.
That's how I wound up where I am now.
So I mentioned before that it's exciting to see, I guess, next gen women that are standing up and leading in the public procurement space. You know, Jamie in Maine is a friend of mine that I'm sure that you know, and Valerie in Idaho, and Megan in Montana. It's great to see a lot of that leadership. You mentioned being told to step into that role, but what motivated you to actually say yes? And what kind of leadership style do you think that you bring to the table?
Well, when I became CPO in 2016, I really felt like I had arrived. I told my husband that I could be in that job until I retire. I just think it's an amazing job. But I was excited when my boss told me that she wanted me to move into this role, because I knew that we had a lot of changes coming down the pipe from the legislature, and I wanted to do what I could to help all the procurement oversight function that was being reorganized, as well as our role in implementing all the new statutes that we got as well during that year. It was a big promotion, and for years I told people that I had imposter syndrome because I was not old enough to be a deputy executive director. But I'm more comfortable now. That was 5 years ago. As far as my leadership style goes, I would say that I subscribe to the philosophy that vulnerability is not weakness. I try to be my authentic self, and I try to lead with empathy. My main concern is having everyone feel valued. I want them to feel like what they do as a part of every process that we have to accomplish over here is valued and important, and especially important to me. I try to invest in my team as much as possible. I want them to feel good about being here. I promote from within every chance that I get, and I just try to help these folks grow professionally and personally as much as I can.
Well, and you're out there with the people as well. So you had some social media posts up last week or so. You guys are getting together in person and you're leading some of the classes. So you're not just off and to the side and watching. You're out there at the front of the front line and working on this as a core part of your work. So tell me about getting out there and doing the work in the field.
I generally consider my role to be supporting my team. And so as far as that education process works is we have a statewide purchasing agent certification program, and I still am involved in teaching different portions of it, as you saw on social media. And I generally do the section on procurement law because, that was what I did before I became an employee over here at this agency when I was representing them. I really just enjoy that experience of getting to connect with the folks out in procurement in the state that we deal with phone or by email, but this is actually getting to communicate with them in a different way. And I think that goes a long way to promote the relationship, in the oversight function. We have to have difficult conversations sometimes with people. We have to tell them things they don't want to hear. And I think it really helps if you have some sort of relationship outside of telephone and email. Maybe it buys you a little bit of street cred with them and they know that you're trying to help them if you have that kind of relationship. So the training course is a great chance for us to interact with people, not as oversight, but as generally trying to support them. And we've worked really hard on the curriculum. We're constantly changing it. We really want it to be a good snapshot of the entire body of knowledge as far as best practices go generally, as well as specific things that are unique to our statutes. We try to offer that course every other month, and we got slowed down a little bit by COVID, but hopefully we're going to be ramping back up. That was part of the reason I posted, is because I was excited to be back in person again, because there's little things worse than a virtual class. So it's much easier to engage people in person.
Well, I was out. You guys had me come out to your event last year for MAGPA, and that was a huge event. So that was when people still weren't getting out in public, or I guess that was at the tail end of people not still getting out. And I had a lunch speech and I took a picture from the stage, and I had several people who were shocked by the turnout in some of the photos, people who still weren't getting out into the field. It was a great group of people. There were a lot of fun people, a lot of people who were willing to get in and chat. So I really enjoyed getting to come. Tell me about your procurement community out there in Mississippi and the type of people that I met when I was there.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun getting back and doing an annual conference. MAGPA is the Mississippi chapter of the NIGP. And so it supports all purchasing and property agents out in the state. And talking about getting to know people, I get to meet lots of state agency folks from all over the state. But then I really like getting to know the folks working out in local government entities, the cities and counties, and just any kind of group that I don't get to interact with on a day-to-day basis. MAGPA works really hard on continuing education, helping people grow professionally. I would not have my certification that I have if our education chair had not really encouraged me to do that.
So finally, give me some sense of what's going on for Mississippi right now in terms of procurement priorities. I know you guys just finished a legislative session. What's on the agenda? What's on the work list for you?
Well, I wish it was over. They're still over there right now under the dome.
Okay.
They've had to extend the session a little bit because they've got a lot of big statewide priorities that we've been working on this session. But as far as procurement goes, it's going to be all ARPA all the time. We got about $1.8 billion, and our legislature is starting to appropriate it. ARPA is probably the broadest pot that they've given us in terms of what it can be used for. And so I think we're going to have some really historic infrastructure upgrades. I think procurement's about to be really busy trying to bid out jobs and engage people to help us start spending that money. And there's going to be a lot of opportunities there. It'll be pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Hey, well, thanks for taking a few minutes with me.
Thank you so much.